Welcome to the very first episode of the Teal Raven podcast. This is about knitting and quilting and recipes and all the things I love most in life besides my kids, because if I talk about my kids, they will kill me. I'm outnumbered 3-1. Anyway, knitting. What am I wearing? I'm wearing the Kavoth scarf. I saw this first on the Grocery Girls, and it is so much fun to knit. It's a free pattern by Carmen Simone on Ravelry. Kavoth is K-V-O-T-H-E. And when you knit like 6 rows, and then you drop an entire row and unravel it all the way down, so you get this really cool pattern. Now, a word of warning, when you bind off this thing, this happened to me. You see right there where there's 2 together? When I bound off, I hooked in the row that I was supposed to drop, and I couldn't unwind it. Now, it doesn't take away from the shawl at all, but this whole thing is supposed to be unwound. And by the time I noticed it, I was already clear at the end of this thing, and I wasn't going to tink back, especially a stretchy bind off, because that would have just been insane. So when you do it, if you make this, and I totally recommend that you do, make sure that you don't catch that loop at the top when you unravel. Just take in, when you bind off, do a little bit of unraveling and then do the bind off. You'll see when you get there what I'm talking about. Anyway, this yarn, oh my God, you cannot go wrong with this yarn. This is Hedgehog Fibers in the Peacock colorway. Look at that. That is true color. I mean, that is how it's showing up in real life. Just incredible. In fact, it was so incredible, I went ahead and made socks in the Blueberry Waffle pattern. Blueberry Waffle socks by Sandy Turner. You can get that pattern on Ravelry for free. Pardon my sock blockers. They are cardboard. Sock blockers are not in my life right now, so I just made my own. But very cute socks. These are for my daughter-in-law, who is just a joy in my life. These are the sock blockers that I have. Look at these things. These are size 11.5. My father-in-law, who is 92 years old, gave me these. He says, I don't know if you're going to want these or not. He says, these are the sock things I used in World War II and Korea and Vietnam to dry my socks. 3 wars. I'm like, yeah, I want those. So I hang them up on my wall. But this is what I traced, except for the foot. I didn't make it quite as long to make my own sock blockers. So incredible. These are just, I just love these. And he was like, they're filthy. Why would you want these? And I'm thinking to myself, why wouldn't I want these? I can't think of anything more personal than the sock blockers you took to 3 wars, as something that I can have and love and remember you by on my wall. Okay, so we did these. Cute. Again, Hedgehog Fibers, Peacock colorway. I didn't use a lot of yarn. I call these my lost heel socks, because on one of these socks, we were watching the movie Cargo with Martin Freeman, which is an excellent film, but it's kind of scary. And I was stitching and stitching and stitching and going, and all of a sudden I'm up to here and I'm coming around the corner and getting ready to knit that toe, and I realized, wow, I forgot to put the heel in. Put in this part, the heel flap, but I did not put the heel in. So I'm ripping back about 6 inches, getting it ready. So this is the lost heel sock. Also, it has a mistake right about in here. You can see that there's a mistake. Scary part of the movie, zombies. That's the zombies right there, popped out, and I just lost it. I'm like, knitting. Okay, next, another finished objects. These are the Neville socks. Neville socks are by Erica Lueder, Lueder. Free pattern on Ravelry. I wish you could see it better. It is just such a pretty pattern. It's kind of a basket weave almost, except that basket weave goes this way and then it comes back the other way. Beautiful, beautiful yarn. Ancient Arts Wolf collection in the Australian Shepherd. Look at that. They nailed that. Has a little bit of a pooling effect on it on that one. Pooling is on the bottom of this one. It's not so bad. But oh my God, I got this and I thought, well, that is Australian Shepherd. They nailed it. So pretty. Part of the proceeds from any of the wolf collection or the meow collection, the cats or the dogs collection, that money, part of that money goes to fund shelter animals, which I think is just super. The next one I want to get from them is the Blue Seal Point Siamese, which is to die for. So beautiful. Tans and a turquoise blue. Look, tans and turquoise blues. I love them, and you'll be seeing them a lot on this podcast. Let's see, those are my works in progress. Those are my finished objects. I do have a work in progress right now. I am using this yarn, Tonal Grays. This is by Dragonfly Fibers. It's their dragon sock, and the color is called District 12. Beautiful. The only thing that's kind of weird, it's only 390 yards. I'm used to a lot more yardage in a skein of yarn. So I bought one of these thinking I was going to make 2 socks. Usually I can make 2 socks out of 1 skein of yarn. Well, you can't out of 390 yards. So I decided I'll just make a shorty sock, and then I would have enough left over to make a second shorty sock. That's where I'm at. That's how much yarn I have left over. I get back on the website to find this yarn. I went to Colorful Yarn in Denver. That's where I bought this. And if you're ever in Denver, go to Colorful Yarns. You will not regret it. They didn't have it. So they told me to just do a search on District 12 Dragonfly Fibers and see what came up. And I searched and it came up in somebody's stash. So I bought 2. I'm not going to need 2. I only need about maybe a third of this one to finish up this sock. But I will have plenty left over to make a hat and some mitts. And no regrets, because this color just, I mean, it's almost a blue-gray. It's so gray. Beautiful. And it's so soft to work with. Oh, I love Dragonfly Fibers. Yarnettes, have you seen these? I'm sure you have. If you haven't, where have you been? Living under a rock, right? Yarnet.com. Just a little thing, opens up. It's like a hamster ball. put your yarn in, put the little loop through, close it up, close it up. There we go. You can now unravel your yarn, cat-free. How wonderful is that? And this bottom thing pops off, and you can keep your notions in there. I never do. The only time I ever pop this off is that I take this into the car and I pop this bottom off and I set this right in my coffee holder, and it stays in my coffee holder without rolling around. It's also got 2 big slots on the top so that you can take and stick your needles in. So I don't need to do that because I use circular needles and I can just pull them through. I don't have to worry about them falling out. But, okay, so anyway, back to the unfinished work in progress here. This pattern is called Petty Harbor by Raina Curtis. Again, it's free on Ravelry. You can see it's like a dressier version of the Vanilla Latte sock. It's a 4 pattern repeat, really easy to memorize, and it just looks so classy. I mean, vanilla lattes, I've made so many of them, and there's nothing wrong with a good vanilla latte sock, especially when you've got a busy strike going on. But these, they just, I mean, you could wear these with a tuxedo. That's what I look at, and I go, well, okay, those are tuxedo socks. I just put a eye of partridge heel on to make it look a little fancier. Really just a lovely, lovely texture, kind of crunchy to this whole sock. I should have this finished by later on today, I would say. It shouldn't be too bad. Let's see here. I use the Chiagu needles, 32-inch on all my socks. These are size 2, US 2, or 275 millimeters. I've recently switched to these from the Addy Sock Rockets, and really there's not a lot of difference between the two. I like this bend, which is kind of nice. I would say that I like the cord of these a little bit better than the cord of the Addy Sock Rockets. The price is better on these two. I do use double DPNs, not often anymore, because why? I mean, if you know how to use a circular needle, it's definitely faster. Works much easier. So these are the Chiagu. This is what they look like. I got sock rockets in here right now, but this is what the package looks like. It's this red and black package, and it has this little person sitting there doing something with yarn. All right, everything is in my new Mrs. Brown's bag. Honestly, these are just classic. If you don't have one, why? You should be getting one by now. It's like, it should be a mandatory thing for all podcasters to own a Mrs. Brown's bag. They are so pretty, so much prettier than they show up on the web page. I was just tickled pink when I got it. Gang handle could be a little nicer. I like a nice handle. This is just a little simple ribbon, which will fall out after a while. But other than that, Jody, honestly, other than that, absolutely love the bag. Just the colors, everything about it, the size is just perfect. So thank you for that. I look forward to buying more from you. Okay, spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. I have the Lolo Did It's mystery sock for the month of, what are we in? June? So June's mystery sock. If you do not want to see this, look away now. I'm not going to describe it. I'm just going to hold it up and show it to you and gush over how gorgeous it is. But I'm not going to tell you what the colors are or anything. Okay, and then I'll tell you when you can look back. All right, ready? Look at this. And look what it comes with. Kind of blowing out the color a little bit. So beautiful. Look down here. I cannot wait to cake this up. Look at that pop in there. Gorgeous. Okay, you can look back now. I'll put it away. I promise not to talk about it anymore. Let's see, what else do I have? Neville socks, what I'm wearing. Mrs. Brown's bag. All right. The only thing I'm going to talk about now is just a little bit about myself. Obviously, I love to quilt, making a Ladies of the Sea quilt back there. Those are those 2 blocks. I have a beautiful little featherweight that I use. Her name is Queen Bee, after Beatrice Nugent. My mother-in-law is letting me use her, and hopefully she's going to give her to me someday. Oh, I hope. I've been working on, I'm working on a bee quilt. I'm working on a king-size quilt for my daughters. Getting ready for a wedding in September. We moved out from Colorado to California last year. We were in Colorado, high in the mountains, in a little town called Grand Lake. And we lived there for 20 years, 12 years full time. And John's parents started getting older and older. And then one day John said, you know what? I really don't want my parents having to move into a home. Let's sell everything, move out to California. And so we did. We sold the house and we moved out to California, and through the grace of God, the house next door to B&W came available for rent. And Fraser, who is a lifelong friend of my husband's, he owned the house and has owned it for 40 odd years. John and Fraser grew up together. We went over to him and said, please, will you rent the house to us? He says, I really want to sell it. And we're like, please rent the house to us. He said, I wouldn't rent it to anybody else. So he's renting it to us on a month-by-month basis, which is just amazing. And it's a beautiful home. If I had to choose a home to live in, and I had all the money in the world to spend, honestly, I would pick this house. It's just laid out beautifully. You can't complain about the neighbors. Mom and Dad are right next door. We go over there every morning for breakfast, after breakfast, and sit and talk for an hour. And then we leave and come home, and they live their lives and we live our lives, and it is just perfect. They're going to be able to stay in that house, which means the world to us. Can't ask for nicer in-laws. They're just, B&W Nugent, just really superior people, I tell you. They are generous to a fault and have raised wonderful children of their own. I adore my husband. Can't thank them enough for that. So they could have raised a jerk, and then I never would have met them, because I don't stick with jerks. So anyway, that is about it. Next time I'm going to show you an Aran knit sweater that I made, some of my quilting projects, and I think a recipe that I have that is just Oh, so good. It's a beef stew with Guinness, and you make it in a pressure cooker or an Instapot. Delicious. I have never had a complaint on that one. So again, this is Teal Raven, my very first podcast. My name is Terry, and I hope to see you later.